As I delve into the Chris Watts case, one chilling question haunts my every thought. What did Chris and Nichole discuss during their 111-minute phone call on the night Shannon was murdered? How did their relationship ignite so rapidly, spiraling into a dark and destructive force that led to one of the most horrific family murders in recent history? Their romance wasn't just fleeting, it was intense and all-consuming. The web of text messages, call logs, and Nichole's revealing Google searches are proof of a connection that may have fueled their deadly descent into betrayal and murder, from which there would be no return. I know the police let her go, but could Nichole Kessinger have played active role in these heinous murders? Welcome to Timeless Mysteries, where we discuss the impossible. Make sure to like and subscribe today. I need your support. Become a member today, or purchase a sticker to leave in the comments section. In this episode, I share with you a detailed analysis of their communications. With these details, we'll paint a disturbing picture of a relationship far more deeply entangled than mere infidelity. Stay with me as we explore the key moments and the psychological dynamics that may have contributed to these tragic events. Chris Watts and Nichole Kessinger first crossed paths at Anadarko Petroleum, where their professional relationship quickly evolved into something more sinister. From their early interactions to their secretive plans for a future together, let's trace the timeline of their affair and identify the emotional bonds that tied them. The first email from Kessinger to Watts was sent on the afternoon of June 5th, and it included other colleagues from the Anadarko Petroleum office in Platteville, Colorado. This email exchange was about fixing a gas meter Chris had taken to Nichole. The spark was subtle at first, hidden within the mundane hellos and quick glances, and by end of June, a deep passion began to stir, and Chris and Nichole's relationship progressed exponentially. By July, they were no longer hiding their feelings. Their text messages and phone calls reveal a lot about the dynamics of their relationship. Most of the messages from Chris reassured Nichole of a future together. On the other hand, Nichole's messages, such "I want to be a part of it," "being in your life is something I crave," shows her deep emotional investment. These communications highlight their growing closeness and the emotional charge leading up to the murders. One day, Nichole talked about meeting up after Chris returned from a trip with Shannon to San Diego from June 22nd to the 26th, 2018. After he returned home, Chris and Nichole met at a park, Colorado. It was there, in the privacy of a public park far from Chris's home, that they shared their first kiss. This kiss marked the beginning of their physical relationship. As they became closer, and they enjoyed both the days and the nights together, they were inseparable. Their first official date was to be a movie at the Orchard off of 144th, but the movie was sold out. So instead, they spent 2 hours walking and talking, completely captivated by each other. The adventure didn't stop there. They also visited the Shelby Car Museum in Boulder, went to a drag race at Bandamere Speedway, and went camping in the Sand Dunes National Park, a trip Chris had always wanted to take. Chris stayed at Nichole's house almost every night. His wife and daughters were in North Carolina. He went home after work to work out, eat dinner, and then would go over to Nichole's house. Nichole wanted to be intimate all the time, and Chris was more than happy to oblige. Nichole asked him if he had ever strayed away before, and he told her no. He told Nichole that it felt like she had a lead on him, and she was able to tug him away from Shannon. This made Nichole happy to hear. This newfound freedom and acceptance was intoxicating for Chris, pulling him further away from his family and deeper into his affair with Nichole. In a revealing police interview, Chris disclosed key details about his affair with Nichole. Essay Coder asked Chris if he had any affairs with other people, to which he replied that he only had an affair with Nichole. He mentioned meeting her around June 1st, 2018, at work when he took a gas meter to her for fixing. After that, they ran into each other a few times in the office and chatted about work. Around the 4th time meeting, Chris mentioned we moved from North Carolina, prompting Nichole to ask what he meant by "we." That's when Chris showed her a picture of his daughters, and Nichole saw a picture of Shannon on his lock screen. Nichole knew he was married and had children, despite later claiming she didn't know he was married. This contradiction only deepens the mystery of their relationship. Why hide this detail from the police? As their affair intensified, Chris and Nichole began to envision a future together, far removed from the responsibilities of Chris's current family. They began making plans for a future together. They talked about traveling, shared dreams of moving away, and discussed potential places they could live together. Chris also mentioned that he didn't wear his wedding ring at work, claiming it was being resized because it was too big after he lost weight. This detail might have given Nichole the impression that he wasn't committed to his marriage, making their imagined future together seem more attainable and real. But how did this affair influence Chris's mindset and drive his actions leading up to the murders? The public has speculated endlessly about Nichole's role in the murders. Some believe she could have influenced Chris's decisions, while others think she might have been a participant. In his February 18th interview, Chris also mentioned that Nichole had bipolar disorder and that he had trouble dealing with these hypomanic episodes, which added a lot of stress and unpredictability to their relationship. Dealing with intense emotional highs and lows, especially in a secret affair, likely made Chris feel even more overwhelmed and desperate. This added tension worsened his already fragile state of mind. According to experts, such intense emotional involvement can significantly impact decision-making, especially in individuals with narcissistic traits like Chris. Chris exhibited traits of a covert narcissist, outwardly humble but internally self-important and lacking empathy. Nichole, meanwhile, seemed to be seeking validation and excitement. Chris and Nichole's personalities created a perfect storm. Chris's desire for a new life and Nichole's need for emotional connection drove them closer, intensifying their relationship and setting the stage for tragedy. There are some important critical questions that need to be addressed. What were Chris and Nichole discussing during their 111-minute call on the night of Shanann's murder? Nichole claims she felt something was off about Chris that night, yet she conveniently cannot recall the details of this lengthy call. This convenient lie raises more questions. If Nichole felt uneasy about Chris, what was his behavior, and why wouldn't she alert the police if she thought he was going to hurt himself or someone else? Why did the call last so long? Was she really aware of his troubled state of mind? Was she trying to console him? Or was she giving Chris the ultimatum, her or Shannon? Furthermore, Nichole's Google searches leading up to and after the murders are particularly revealing. On July 24th, she said, "Man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife." On August 8th, she searched, "Marrying your mistress." Most notably, on August 4th, she spent over 2 hours searching for wedding dresses, just 9 days before Chris killed his wife and daughters. On August 19th, just 4 days after Chris was arrested, Kessinger searched, "Did people hate Amber Frey?" Invoking the name of the woman who was having an affair with Scott Peterson, who murdered his wife, Lacey, and their unborn child in 2002. Given the situation, she may have been curious about her own fate. But what's even more peculiar are her queries about the book deal Frey obtained, along with Frey's net worth, suggesting that she was dreaming of financial success amidst the tragic death of Chris's pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. Furthermore, these searches suggest she was deeply invested in the idea of still having a future with Chris, raising still more questions about her potential influence over his actions. Additionally, on the morning of the murders, a neighbor reported seeing a truck matching the description of Nichole's outside the Watts home. Nichole's phone also pinged off a tower in Frederick, Colorado, where the Watts family home is located. Though not definitive, these details suggest she might have been closer to the scene than previously known. She could have been inside the house at the time of the murders, or perhaps immediately after. What's even more intriguing is the fact that Nichole didn't clock in to work that morning. Despite claiming she was at work on time, records show she didn't use her work badge to clock in. So she manually logged her arrival time, leaving more questions. Was she actually at work, Or did she show up late because she was with Chris? Does she have a valid alibi regarding her whereabouts during that critical time? After Chris's arrest, Nichole disappeared, and the questions remain: was Nichole trying to avoid the same public hatred that Amber Frey faced? Or is she avoiding more questions from law enforcement? The mystery of Nichole Kessinger's disappearance adds another twist to this already shocking story. Did she choose to vanish completely? Or was she granted immunity and forced into hiding by the government? These questions leave us wondering why this really happened and who was involved. Was there any legal culpability or obstruction of justice on Nichole's part? Chris mentioned he hasn't talked to Nichole since his arrest and hopes she hasn't written to him under a different alias. When he says this, I wonder, was this a predetermined plan to keep in contact? He also says he doesn't know where Nichole is or if she had to leave the state due to the publicity of the case. But we do know that she deleted her social media, left her job, and moved away from the community. Despite her efforts to distance herself, her involvement in the case remains a subject of intense public interest. The lack of concrete answers fueling ongoing speculation. How has the public's perception of Nichole shaped her post-murder life? The relentless media attention and public judgment have undoubtedly left an indelible mark. The story of Nichole Kessinger leaves us with more questions than answers. Share your comments below. Thank you for joining me today as we continue to seek understanding and justice. We must remember the innocent lives lost and the profound impact of these events. Stay informed, stay safe, and always seek the truth. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.